Lando Norris wins the 2025 Australian Grand Prix despite unforgiving weather. Melbourne United take a 2-1 lead in the NBL Finals, but can they get it done in front of their own fans on Wednesday? And what is going on with South Melbourne? This is Sportswatch.
Yeah, I'm doing good today, you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. Look, it was a huge weekend of sport and a huge week of sport in general, so I say we get straight into it and we'll talk about the Australian Grand Prix. Now, I'm not a huge motorsports fan. I know you're probably a bigger fan than I am, and you were fortunate enough to be at that event, so why don't you take it away from us on that?
Yep, I'd be glad to. So, yes, of course, the Australian Grand Prix was on over the weekend, which is Australian Motorsports obviously showpiece event of the year. It's obviously one of the biggest sporting events, not just in Melbourne, but in Australia, of course. And even though conditions on Sunday were probably not the best, I mean, we had the supercars and the Formula 2 cancelled and the Formula 3 race got cut down. Even though conditions probably weren't the best, and there was a lot of doubt in the air about whether it'd be safe for to get any proper racing. The race went ahead, and in the end, we were treated to an absolutely classic race. Of course, our two Aussie drivers maybe didn't have the best races that they would have wanted. Of course, Jack Doohan crashed out in the first lap in his rookie season in his first race of the year for Alpine. Obviously, not ideal, but he'll look at that and he'll take it into next week at China. Oscar Piastri, who there's so much promise, so much excitement around him. Obviously, he's been an extremely exciting prospect for a long time, an extremely exciting driver. But it all just went wrong at lap 45 once the rain started coming back down again for I believe it was the third time that race. Of course, I mean, fair credit to him. He managed to get the car off the grass and back onto the track and back into the race. Managed to finish in the points, but again, it was not an ideal result, especially for someone who is competing for the championship really. But yeah, like you said, of course, Lando Norris ended up coming home to win the race in the end. He was followed by Max Verstappen, who will likely again be up there challenging for the title again. And it was George Russell who rounded out the podium at the end of the day. And I mean, overall, it was an incredible event. I went all 4 days. It was a great weekend, a great time out. Obviously, Sunday's weather was not ideal, but again, I mean, motorsports fans are crazy. They brave the weather to do anything. It was just an incredible event, and at the end, everyone was treated.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, look, we got very unlucky with the weather, didn't we? We had such an incredible summer. It was still hot, all throughout last week, and then comes the big event on Sunday, it's raining, which, wasn't fortunate. But like you said, the fans still got out to them. To be fair, they were very good. I was watching on TV. I thought the fans were great. I just do wonder, though, when it's raining, and you probably know about this more than I do, when it's raining, does it create a different advantage for certain drivers? And do you think it almost had a result on the standings in the podium? Or was it just, the best driver won, doesn't matter what the conditions are?
I mean, the rain definitely has an effect, especially in motorsports. Of course, strategy is a big factor, choosing the right type of tires. At the end of the day, the strategy was the one thing that had to get perfect. And across the grid, I think at the end of the day, out of the drivers that finished, you'll find that strategy played the biggest effect. Of course, Oscar Piastri, of course, he was still on a dry tire at the time of his incident in lap 45. He said it himself. He probably pushed a little too hard in the conditions, so that was important. Lando Norris, obviously, he managed to manage his tires perfectly. They got their strategy pretty spot on McLaren. So at the end, he's ended up finishing strongly. A driver I want to make note of is, of course, Yuki Tsunoda, who spent the whole race basically almost perfect. He's been an excellent driver in the last couple of years, but unfortunately, the strategy at Racing Bulls on Sunday was just not up to scratch, and at the end, it definitely affected his result dramatically. But yeah, I mean, the rain definitely has an effect. Of course, individual driver talent, of course, will always triumph, especially in conditions like that. But at the end of the day, race strategy has a definite effect too. So the drivers that did well, the top three, they got a perfect mix of team strategy that worked out perfectly at the end of the day, and of course there were three excellent drivers too. You can't really blame it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned that end of the day, the individual talent's always got to come through. That's the case in any sport. It was especially true on Sunday. Obviously, Lando Norris won, I believe. I believe he hasn't probably had as many wins as he would have liked. I think that was only his fifth career win, so definitely a good result for him. I believe he'll probably bounce back from this now and probably continue having a good season. But I do just wonder, though, like, for some of the drivers who struggled, it was obviously this was the opening season. So for some of those, that was the opening race of the season. So for some of those drivers who struggle now, What's next? How do they bounce back, and how do you really try and carve out a successful season despite the rough day in Melbourne?
Yeah, of course. So they're going to get straight back into it this coming weekend. They're heading up to Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix, so there's no rest for the wicked. But yeah, obviously, it's not easy. They'll know that the conditions were obviously very difficult here in Melbourne, especially with all the rain and the conditions were changing back and forth. The rain was coming and then it was gone. There was sun out at the end of the race. You really couldn't predict the weather at all. It was just a absolute normal Melbourne day. So I think, look, it won't affect many of the drivers too much. Obviously, it'll be a disappointing result, especially for some of those drivers that, crashed out in the race. You think of Isaac Hadjar, who didn't even get to start the race because he crashed out on the formation lap, which was absolutely tragic. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think they'll bounce back. They'll jump into next week in Shanghai, which should hopefully be a little more forgiving, especially with the weather. And I think, yeah, they'll look forward to obviously bouncing back and, taking on the rest of the championship year, week by week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a great sport, isn't it? There's a lot of events coming up. You mentioned Shanghai. There's definitely a lot more down the line to look out for. To go all around the world, those famous tours. You have Monaco, I think of the ones in America. So look, there's definitely a lot to play for. It's still early in the season, but no, it was definitely a great start. I think it was a success for Melbourne despite the weather. I believe we had over 100,000 fans there, so definitely good for us, especially with the rain. And yeah, well done to Lando Norris. That was a great start to his season, and just well done to everyone involved because despite the weather, I thought it was a great turnout. But I do think we'll move on now to NPL Victoria. Now we'll mainly focus here on South Melbourne, who have really been struggling recently. They lost to St Albans, and you thought, okay, we'll make the excuse there. They have Preston on Friday. They have Preston in 4 days. They've got to focus on that. Then they lose to Preston, and you think, okay, well that's not good. That's the one game they really want to win, and then they lose again on the weekend. So what are you made of that? Because this is a team who really expect to be competing, if not winning, every single year in the grand final. So I think they're seventh right now, which is just really unusual to see. So what have you made of South Melbourne so far?
Yeah, obviously it's has been an ideal start to the year for South Melbourne. I mean, yeah, you talk about that game against St Albans, but I think it goes back even further to the game against Melbourne Victory, where obviously they were probably expected to get some sort of result, but at the end of the day, it was a big draw. And since then, 3 games without scoring a goal is not a good look, especially for a team that is in the championship and a team that wants to be competing for the title and competing for the for silverware at the end of the year. And it's not great reading. It's absolutely not good reading at all. I watched a bit of the game on Saturday night against Dandenong Thunder, and you just have to admit they looked pretty average. I mean, you can say, look, they had no Bernardo. Of course, over the off season they lost Harry Sawyer. Harvey Lopez has just come back from injury. They spent the Preston and the St Albans game pretty much without Harvey Lopez. And while Lopez has been incredible, they've been just absolute. They've looked absolutely average going forward, and you can't say that they've really looked like a dangerous team like they have in the past.
For sure. I mean, you mentioned Harry Sawyer, who went away. He's at Macarthur now. So you look at that and you think, well, okay, he's their best striker. Who are they going to get to replace him? Their main signing to replace him was Gustav Muller, the Danish centre forward. And I don't think he's done awful. I think he's had his moments, but let's be real, he's no Harry Sawyer. Not many people at this level are. So you lose a huge player like that, and you get unlucky with injuries. Like I said, Harvey Lopez, he missed pretty much the second half of the St Albans game, wasn't there against Preston. They've had a few other injuries, so look, it's just been a really rough start to the season. And sure, like you can mention those injuries, but this is a big team who expect to be winning games. Like maybe you excuse a loss to St Albans because you have Preston in 4 days. Then maybe you excuse a loss to Preston because they're a good team who can beat Preston. But then you look at the loss to Dandenong Thunder on the weekend. That was a poor showing. They never looked like they got out of second year. So to me, it's just real. I would be worried right now if I was a South Melbourne fan. I'll be honest, because this is not the form that such a high club with such high expectations should be settling for. This is a big team, and yeah, I think they've got to be doing way better because I believe I had them winning it all. So to not be in the top 6 right now after what are we 6 games? It's not a great showing.
Yeah, and it doesn't get easier for them either. They have Hume City away on Friday night, which is, Hume is famously a very hard ground to go to. So, something has got to change. Something's got to give. Obviously, you'd imagine the players know that something's got to change. You'll know the coach will know that something's got to change, and they're gonna have to find it quick because NPL Victoria will move fast, and if they don't catch up, then they'll find themselves stuck at a sticky point in the season. And I mean, ninth is not a great place to be. Obviously, just outside relegation, which is not a spot that South Melbourne as a football club should be at, ever. So I mean, you'd imagine that maybe they'll bounce back sooner or later, but I mean, they've got to find something and they've got to make it sooner because before you know it, if this season gets out of hand, then it could end up being a pretty ugly year for South Melbourne and for South fans.
Absolutely. And, this is one season which you really don't want to underperform in because, yes, they've qualified for the championship. They're one of the automatic teams. That's fine. Don't have to worry about that. But nonetheless, you want to be going into the championship with teams fearing you. You don't want to be going into the championship after finishing 10th in NPL Victoria and you have all these interstate teams looking at you thinking, okay, this is probably one of the worst teams in the league. This should be an easy win. You really don't want that. So this is a team who really has to dig in now, not just for their season, not just to win the grand final in September, but if they want to, make some noise in the championship, they've really got to lock in now and try and get back at it. And like you said, Hume on the weekend, that's a tough place to go. That's a tough game. Now, I will say that if they do lose that, they are probably in trouble because they could be as much as 6 points out of the top six. And at that point, probably closer to relegation than the top six, which really, again, for South Melbourne, is not a place they ever want to be. This is a big team. So, look, it's definitely a worrying sight, but it is also still early in the season. You have to factor that in. They've been unlucky with injuries. They're probably still meshing together after losing Sawyer and a few other players. So, look, I do think they'll bounce back. I do think they'll make finals, but maybe this team isn't as good as we thought. And that's okay. That happens all the time. So, that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, it's early in the season. There's still plenty of time to bounce back. I mean, you could make the same case about any team, really. I mean, of course, Green Gully started their season pretty poorly, but they picked up their first win last week, as did Victory, who beat Port Melbourne as well. I mean, yeah, there's enough time to turn things around. Okay, like that we've seen teams do this before. We saw, of course, famously we saw St Albans do it near the pointy end of last year. I mean, look, it's far from ideal. You really don't want to start that far. You really don't want to go into the middle of the season that far down, especially as the games start stacking up as well. I mean, the fourth round of the Doherty Cup starts next month, which means these teams will be competing with a few more games. They'll be competing with midweek games. So I mean, you'd have to imagine they've got to find a way to turn it around now. But again, early in the season, we'll see where it goes because South Melbourne as a team really they'll bounce back. We imagine they would.
You would imagine they would for sure. It's been a rough start, but they are still a good team. You still can't overlook them. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. But we will just look at the other leagues now, I think. We will start off in NPL Victoria still. We'll have a look at the whole table. And you look at Avondale, who were 6 for 6, 18 points. That couldn't get any better. That's an incredible start. Then at the other end, you've got Port Melbourne, who are on 3 points. So just quickly before we move on to the other leagues, what do you make so far? Maybe specifically on Avondale, who are 6 for 6.
I mean, they've looked absolutely incredible, haven't they? I mean, it's very hard to look past them at the moment as as probably the best team on paper, even in Australia, to be honest. I mean, of course, they've built a strong team. They've picked up a lot of pieces as they tend to do in the off season. Uh, I mean, a player I think of is I mean, I'm an Nelson supporter. A player I think of is Luca Tavares, who since joining has just been absolutely incredible. He's been all guns blazing for Avondale since he's joined. But the whole team has been incredible. But yeah, I mean, they've just been absolutely just perfect. You can't really say there's anything wrong with them. Beating Preston over the weekend was a big statement after Preston beat South Melbourne too. So I mean, yeah, I think we'll find that Avondale are just going absolutely perfect right now. It's very hard for them to do much wrong at the moment. But again, the season changes fast, so we'll see where it sits at the end of the year.
For sure. We'll look at some other leagues quickly. NWS Spirit are on top of the NPL New South Wales table. They are 5 wins and 1 draw with 16 points. They have a 5-point buffer over Manly and Blacktown, who are both have 11 in second and third. Then you look down at the bottom, you see, Western Sydney and Sydney Youth. So some teams who are struggling. Everyone's won a game, which I think is a good start. But if you look back at the top of the table, NWS Spirit are starting to break away. And do you think that's a sign for the rest of the season? Do you think they can go and win it all now?
I mean, yeah, they're doing very well. Obviously, they've been a good team for a couple of years. The draw against Sydney United last week probably not ideal, but again, early in the season. But yeah, they've done very well for themselves. Obviously, I mean, first is always a good place to sit, no matter how early in the season or how late in the season it is. Yeah, they've been really good. They've played some entertaining football, so I think yeah, they're ones to keep an eye on at the moment.
For sure, for sure. I mean, it's a great league, NPL New South Wales. I did get to watch a bit of it last weekend, so would definitely recommend tuning in. If we just look at some other league quickly, you've got Queensland, Peninsula, and Raw. Peninsula have 6 points. They're on top. Raw and Wynnum Wolves both on the bottom with no points yet. And look, they haven't played much recently because of the cyclone, but hopefully they'll be back into it soon, and we'll see the consistent football there. In South Australia, you've got Metro Stars on 6 points. WA have only just started their season, so there's a lot of teams there who are on top. And then Tasmania, it's Launceston City with 3 points. So look, it's definitely a lot of leagues are looking pretty good at the moment. So you just look at the basis in general in Australian NPL football right now. What do you make of it?
I mean, yeah, we're starting to get to a point where it's all starting to take shape. We're probably going to get a better idea of who's pushing for those championship spots now. Especially in places like South Australia, where Metro Stars have looked really, really good all year. Well, as thus far, obviously it's only been a couple of games, but I mean they've looked incredible. Obviously, Tasmania started this week. The Launceston derby was incredible. I believe it was Launceston United who won 5-0 to get to top of the table. I mean, that's just an incredible statement performance to start the season. And yeah, I mean, NPLWA starting off this weekend as well. Obviously, a very, very close game, some very close games everywhere you look. And I mean, yeah, I mean, anyway you look, it's all really good football across Australia, and it's all starting to take shape now, and it's good viewing if you're free on a weekend and you've got not much to do. I mean, look up your local club, go down to the ground. I mean, you'll be thoroughly impressed. It's always good watching. It's always, I mean, good food, good culture, good support. I mean, yeah, it's good football all around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone has a local club, everyone has a local league. It doesn't matter whether a championship club or whether you're a state league team. Everyone's got a local team out there somewhere. So I'd recommend getting out and giving it some support because no matter where you look, there's some great football happening right now in Australia. But with that, I think we'll move on to some other football in Australia. We'll focus on the A-League. Now, what a huge weekend it was in the A-League. There were 33 goals, I believe, which is, an insane number. So big weekend, some big games. What do you make of that just incredible weekend of A-League football?
I mean, yeah, I'll make note of this. I saw this over the weekend. 33 goals is the most ever scored in a single round of the A-League men's in history, in their 20-year history. So, I mean, that's just incredible. That it just shows, I mean, the talent that's coming through the A-League at the moment. Yeah, obviously some really big results. Obviously I'm a West United fan. The 6-2 win against Newcastle Jets was really good. But I think probably the biggest game, my favorite game of the week, was Western Sydney Wanderers versus Melbourne Victory. Where I mean, Wanderers obviously they got up 4-2 over Victory on the pitch, but off the pitch it was an incredible spectacle. I think there was pretty full traveling Melbourne Victory support. Obviously their active support had their tour of duty, so a good margin of them went up, made the journey upwards to support their team, which ended up creating an incredible atmosphere. Obviously, Wanderers had that incredible pre-game tifo, the Gladiator one, which was just, I mean, that's just incredible. That's why we love football culture. We love the tifos and the support. And to me, I mean, 2-0 from 2-0 up to from 2-0 down to 4-2 up. I mean, that's just, if there was ever an advertisement for the A League, that game was it. I mean, it was an incredible game of football, an incredible atmosphere. And I mean, yeah, it's why we love football. It'd be the first game I'd show to someone when they say, "Oh, why do you love football so much?" To be honest, because that was just an incredible match.
I mean, everywhere you look, there's probably games this weekend that could be used in our A-League advertisement. So for sure, that was a great game. You look at Macarthur and Adelaide on the Friday night, that had 9 goals. West United versus Newcastle had 8 goals. So some big games, some high-scoring games in the A-League this weekend, for sure. Yeah, like you said, Western Sydney versus Melbourne Victory was a great game. Victory took a 2-0 lead. The Wanderers got back into it. I thought the home support was great, firstly, to get them back into it. Obviously, great showing on the pitch as well. So that was a great game to watch. I really enjoyed that one. If you just look at the table quickly, Auckland are still on top. They are on 42 points. Western are up behind on 38, and keep in mind, Auckland can't play in the Asian Champions League, so as it stands, Western United will be in the ACL next season. Look down the table, we've got the Wanderers now in third, City and Victory are fourth and fifth, Adelaide round out the top six, and then teams like Sydney, Macarthur, and Newcastle right on the edge there for the top six as well. You look down the bottom, and Brisbane are finally off the bottom of the league after that win against Perth. It's now Perth who sit rock bottom, and their goal difference especially really not looking pretty. Minus 34 goal difference for them compared to Raw's minus 15. So really not a good time to be a Glory fan. But for everyone else, I think it's not so bad. So what do you make of the table so far? Obviously, you look at Auckland, you look at the second spot for ACL, you look at the top six. There's a lot of different stuff to look at.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, you look, there's teams fighting for something. I mean, credit to Brisbane. That was an incredible performance on late Saturday night up in Perth. I mean, obviously Perth is a hard place to play. I mean, of course, they have their own little fortress out there. The travel is really takes a toll. So credit to them. It's a really good win, especially to win away as well. It's good stuff. Obviously, I mentioned Auckland, who dropped points to Central Coast Mariners, and I'd argue that the title race is now wide open. Obviously, Western United only 4 points behind, but that also puts Wanderers and City 5 points behind, Victory, and I believe that's meant to be Adelaide, who are only 9 points behind as well. I mean, seriously, anywhere you look, I mean, the teams are fighting for anything. There's teams fighting for a spot in finals. There's teams fighting for arguably the title. And I mean, if Auckland hold firm, then there's teams fighting for Asia as well in second place. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just incredible viewing everywhere, and the A League is really picking up, and it's definitely this has definitely been one of the most entertaining seasons we've had in in its history.
For sure, it's been an incredible season to watch. I've been really entertained throughout it all. I think it's been very fun. But you did mention, I want to touch on this. Auckland dropped points again, a 2-all draw to Central Coast. Now, all year we've been looking at the second spot because we thought Auckland are going to win it. We've looked at the second spot for ACL, but is there a possibility that, say, Western United not only make the ACL, but actually pip Auckland to the league? And if so, how likely do you think that is?
I mean, anything's possible from here. Anything's possible from here. We can't rule anything out. Obviously, there's only a couple of weeks left in the season, about 6, 7 games left for most clubs now. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Auckland have a pretty tough schedule. I believe they've got a couple of the top teams next coming up. I believe they've got Victory away and West United away in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, yeah, there are some difficult games coming up for the schedule, but that would apply to anyone. Down this point at the end of the season, every game is a difficult game because every team is playing for something. So look, do I think there's a chance that maybe my Western or that someone else gets a chance at the title? Yes, of course. I mean, I wouldn't rule anything out, but at the end of the day, it's in everyone's hands. If anyone wants something, they'll play to get it, and I mean, they're absolutely all a chance to. I mean, fight for that title, fight for finals, fight to get out of the bottom four, anything.
For sure. And just quickly, we'll look at the fixtures upcoming. Obviously, we have the international breaks. We'll have the Socceroos and obviously other countries playing for over the next week. But once you get back into it, there are some huge fixtures there. You look at, Sydney versus Melbourne City. That'll be a great game. Victory versus Adelaide United. That'll be another great game. So, yeah, obviously there'll be a week off. Once we get back into it, it should be a really, really good showing. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends because, like you said, it's been one of the best seasons I can remember. But we will move on now to another football topic, still about the A-League. It'll be that our A-League All-Stars are back for another season. This time, they played Newcastle last year, obviously. This time, it'll be at the MCG, and they'll be playing Liverpool. Now, Liverpool have had a rough week, obviously, knocked out of the Champions League to PSG. They lost the Carabao Cup final to Newcastle, but nonetheless, they're probably going to win the league. And then after they win the league, we'll probably have them here in Melbourne only a week later, because it shouldn't be too far of a turnaround. So, 1 week after they get it done, we should have the Premier League champions on our MCG. So, what an incredible get. So what do you make of this? Because this is really huge. I think this is even bigger than last year.
I mean, yeah, this is just an incredible get that we've gotten in Melbourne. I mean, obviously the A League All Stars has been a great event for a couple of years. We've played some really good teams. We played Barcelona a couple of years back. We played Newcastle last year. We've had Juventus and even Manchester United, even like if you go back 2012, 2013. I mean, seriously, this has potential to be really, really good. I think back to that game in 2013 that the Victory played against Liverpool, and everyone will think about how good the atmosphere was that night at the MCG. Obviously, it's a packed house, and I mean, we could be seeing a repeat of that scene these days now. I mean, obviously, football keeps getting bigger in Australia. We've been knowing this for a couple of years. Liverpool have been a massive team in Australia since forever, pretty much. They've been a massive team anywhere you look, to be honest. But I mean, yeah, this is an incredible event. It's a good chance for to obviously for Liverpool supporters to finally get to see their club live, to get to see the English potentially the English Premier League champions live, and it's a good advertisement for the A League too. I mean, we're going to be putting out the 11 best players pretty much out there, the ones that won't be involved in the grand final. I mean, it's grand final week, so whoever's playing in the grand final obviously won't be playing in that. But yeah, I mean, it's a chance to advertise the A League to a wider audience, a massive audience, and it's a chance to promote the game here in Australia, and it's got potential to be an incredible spectacle.
For sure. I mean, you mentioned the last time Liverpool in Melbourne. I believe that was 2013. What an incredible atmosphere that was. That you'll never walk alone before the game, with 96,000 people, I believe it was. And look, obviously, full respect to like Anfield itself. With there, you'll never walk alone, but that's only 60,000. You make that 96,000, and it's loud. So I think even Liverpudlians themselves had called it the best you'll never walk alone you'll ever hear. So I'm really looking forward to that again. Yeah, you mentioned the A-League All-Stars. I think it should be a good squad. Obviously, the grand final teams won't have any players playing, but even still, I think we'll have definitely some good players on show. We did last year, obviously, against Newcastle, beat them 8-0. I just want to touch on that quickly. Now, last year with Newcastle, we believed that Eddie Howe decided to play his first team against Tottenham in the game before the All-Stars weekend, and that backfired on him because the All-Stars beat Newcastle 8-0. Now, as far as I know, Liverpool don't have a second match in Melbourne. This will be their only game, so do you think it'll be a bit different this time? Because I do expect, Salah would play. I do expect Van Dijk would play because this is their only game in Melbourne. So do you think it'll be a bit different this time?
I mean, I think everyone will be hoping that Liverpool go out there and put out probably one of their better teams. I mean, it'd be pretty upsetting if we came and they pretty much fielded a second or third team. But Yeah, I mean, no second game planned. Obviously, not sure if they've got any other postseason or preseason tours coming up soon. But I mean, if they do this properly, if Liverpool treat this with the respect that it deserves, and then I mean, yeah, there's no reason it won't be an incredible game, especially if they put out the best team out there. We get all those superstars, you get your Van Dijks, your Salahs, your Nunez's, If we get all of them, then, this has every chance to be just, an incredible game and, one that just, for people who will likely pack out the MCG this May, I mean, it'll likely be one that they won't forget for a long, long time.
For sure. I mean, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm waiting to see if there is anything else, Maybe there is a second game playing, or what I think we really hope for is a women's All-Stars as well, because we saw that last year. That was great in its own right. We had Arsenal come down. We saw some of our best Matildas, both on Arsenal and on the A-League women's team. So I'm hoping we see that again. We talked about it briefly, in the last week. I've seen people mention it. I don't think anything's confirmed yet, but I would love to see it. But either way, what an incredible get Liverpool is, because, like I mentioned, this will be a Premier League winning team by May, and only 7 days later, they'll be on the MCG in front of us. So, great get. I am looking forward to seeing what the All-Stars do, and yeah, just looking forward to seeing it all play out because it should be great. But we are going to move on now. We've got the AFL. Now, we had opening round the week before. This was our first full round, and there was definitely some good games. I thought it was a great watch. I thought you look at Richmond Carlton, that comeback from Richmond, incredible. You look at, Brisbane Sydney, the grand final rematch, that was a great game. You look at Melbourne GWS and how far Melbourne pushed them, when I don't think many people expected that. So, some great games everywhere you look. What did you make of the first full round of the AFL?
I mean, yeah, anyway, you look, it was incredible watching. Obviously, wherever you look, it was either there was comebacks galore, there was, I mean, absolute thrillers, and I think, yeah, there was some really, really good comprehensive results by some teams as well. I mean, obviously, you mentioned Richmond Carlton. I was fortunate enough to be there, and I mean, as a Carlton supporter, probably wasn't the best night I've ever had, but at the end of the day, Richmond were incredible on the night. Carlton really should have been better, but yeah, they obviously performed well. But the performance I took note of this past weekend was Gold Coast, who thumped West Coast on Sunday afternoon. I mean, seriously, that was an incredible performance. They had a lot of doubt on them. Obviously, Gold Coast, they've had issues winning away from home last season, which was very public. And I think there's no better statement than to not just win away from home, but to absolutely smash West Coast away from home. I mean, West Coast have their problems, but I mean it's a very very good result. And I mean that Ben Kingston in the third quarter, man, that was just something incredible for sure. I mean, Gold Coast were just really really good this past weekend, I think.
For sure. And, no one expects West Coast to do much, but nonetheless, you'll have to go out there and win those games. So, huge respect to Gold Coast. That was a great game, and I believe they sit third now. The one thumping that I took note of was Collingwood Port Adelaide, because I was critical of Collingwood on our last episode. I thought they didn't look great against GWS. I thought they never got out of second gear. I thought they looked unfit, I'll be honest. And look, they proved me wrong against Port Adelaide. Obviously, I'm sure playing a second game before Port does definitely helps on the opening round, but nonetheless, what an incredible performance that was. I mean, they looked like a team who could still definitely contend for, the grand final. Why not? Because you watch that, you can't rule them out of anything. So, no, definitely great bounce back performance from them. You look down the table, I think Adelaide had a good win against St Kilda. Geelong looked good against Freo. You see the Bulldogs just survived against North Melbourne. Hawthorn beat Essendon. So, look, definitely some good results all around. If you look at it again, I think there's definitely probably, still maybe 9 or 10 teams who, maybe even 11 or 12, who could definitely contend this season for the grand final. It's a huge league, and it's definitely one that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on because it's been huge.
I mean, yeah, it's been incredibly close. It's been very good watching. Obviously, I think the main takeaway you can take from this is, anything that you're expecting, don't expect it. Just, go into every game almost as if it's a fresh game because seriously, after this weekend, I think pretty much almost every assumption people have made has been pretty much incorrect. So, look, I think at the end of the day, I mean, the AFL has been always been a great watch. I can't think of a single season of AFL that I haven't enjoyed, but yeah, this is shaping up to be a really good season so far. I mean, we've already had some really big upsets this round. We had some big upsets in opening round as well. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, bring on the next couple of weeks. It's going to be some really good watching, especially between some of the top eight teams. Our finals race is going to be something really, really close, I reckon.
For sure, for sure. I'll have a quick look at the fixtures for next week. You've got Carlton Hawthorn to kick you off on Thursday night. That'll be a great game. See if the Blues can bounce back. Bulldogs Collingwood is a tasty fixture on the Friday night. Essendon play Adelaide. Port play Richmond. St Kilda play Geelong. Brisbane play West Coast. You've got North versus Melbourne on the Sunday, and then Freo versus Sydney to round you out on the Sunday, which should be a good game, that one. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. I think especially the Carlton Hawks game. I think that'll be probably the best game of the round. So I'll be interested to see what happens there. But no, we will move on now to another sport that has been taking the waves recently. It's the NBL. Now, in our first NBL episode a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned that it's very hard to win away. Now that theory has been blown up to shreds because firstly, Melbourne United won game 1 in Illawarra. Illawarra got back against them in game 2 in Melbourne, and then both teams went back to Illawarra. Melbourne won again. So at the time of recording, it's 2-1 to United. All 3 games have been won away. So that's pretty funny in itself. But now you look at United, they've got a huge chance on Wednesday to go back to John Cain Arena in front of their home fans and win it all. So what have you made of that?
I mean, the NBL Finals has been a really good watch. Obviously, I'm not the biggest basketball person, but I've thoroughly enjoyed following along to the NBA Finals, NBL Finals. Sorry. I mean, yeah, obviously, we mentioned in the last episode. Obviously, it's hard to win away from home. It's true in any sport, but it's especially true in a sport like basketball. And yeah, I mean, Melbourne winning 2 games in Illawarra is obviously massive for them. Obviously, Illawarra did very well on to win at John Cain, and yeah, obviously, come Wednesday night, come game 4. I mean, could we be seeing could we be seeing Illawarra perform the big win away from home again, or could Melbourne finally put Illawarra to the sword? Could they lift the silverware at home in front of their home fans? I mean, either way, I mean, it's been really good watching, and both teams have been incredible, and it's been a great series of basketball for sure, 100%.
For sure. And I think you look at the Game 3 game on Sunday, it was a scrappy game. It was one of those finals games that you really do watch and you think, okay, not the most entertaining, not the highest scoring, but a true grit and grind game, which the winning team definitely deserved to win. So it was, like I said, a low scoring, only 83 to 77, which you expected to be a little higher, but I thought United were great. I thought they were missing Shea Ili. I thought Jack White stepped up great in his presence. Jack White also had a rough game too. He definitely made up for it on Sunday with a huge Game 3 performance. I believe he had 20. And how about Matthew Dellavedova? 16 points, 11 assists. He might be older now, but he still knows what to do, especially in those big finals moments. So, yeah, great win for United. What do you think? Is there still a chance for Illawarra? Can they win in 5? Or do United get it done either in Game 4 or Game 5?
I mean, I think it's pretty hard to make a prediction right now because I think, yeah, I mean, both teams have been really good, and I think I, I pretty much haven't gotten a single guess game right correctly, to be honest. I mean, I thought Illawarra would win the first game. I thought Melbourne would win the second game, and then I thought and then I only thought Melbourne would win the third, and they did. So in the end, I mean, there's pretty much it's pretty hard to make predictions, especially in the NBL at the moment. But look, I'm still gonna hold my ground. I still think Melbourne will get the job done eventually, whether in 4 or 5. I still think they'll get it done. But either way, I think it's pretty even. I think anyone can get the job done at this rate. They're both 2 very good teams, and I mean, look, we've been treated to an incredible final series. Let's hope we get an incredible conclusion to it as well.
For sure. As for me, my original prediction was United in four. I'm going to stand on that. I think they get it done on Wednesday. It won't be easy. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be one of those finals classics that we talk about, but I back United to get done in four. But before we end off, we'll move on to our last topic, which will be the NRL. Now, that's gotten away as well. There's been, I believe, 2 games or 1 game played, depending who you are. Storm have only played 1 game, and they're still on top. They had a great win. You've got the Raiders up there, the Bulldogs, the Knights, the Rabbitohs, the Broncos as well. So definitely some teams up there that you'd expect. Maybe a few surprises as well. I know you're not the biggest NRL fan, but what have you made so far of this?
I mean, yeah, it's been a good start to the rugby league season. Obviously, it's starting to take shape. Obviously, still early in the season, so we're finding our way. The result I took note of over the past weekend was West Tigers being Parramatta. Obviously, West Tigers have been probably one of the worst team worst teams in the NRL, I guess. They had a poor season last year, but I mean, a 32-6 win over Parramatta. I mean, that's just incredible to do it away from home as well. It's just, I mean, it's really, really good stuff. And obviously, they're up to 7th now. Will it last? We don't know. They're they they might be set to have another difficult season, but yeah, I mean, it's a good win, especially over a team that you'd argue is sort of around a similar standing to them, maybe lower on the table. But I mean, yeah, it was a really good win with them, a really good result for West Tigers, and I mean, anyway, you look, there was some really good results in the NRL, so it's been really good watching, and it's yeah, been very entertaining.
For sure. I was impressed by a few games myself. I thought the Roosters were great to bounce back after that loss to the Broncos. They beat the Panthers 38-32. Speaking of the Broncos, I was a little disappointed by them. I thought they probably should have beaten the Raiders. I think they also would agree they should have beaten the Raiders, but no, I think they'll still have a good season nonetheless. But the Raiders got the better of them. I think they're going to have a great game, and they currently sit second. So look, it's definitely a good tournament shaping up, a good league shaping up as you look at it. So Storm still on top. They didn't even play on the weekend, but that Eels win that they had in the first round, what a massive statement win that was to still show they are one of the best teams in this tournament. So it's definitely shaping up to be a great season. I still can't predict. It's still way too early to make a prediction, but nonetheless, I'm looking forward to see how it plays out, and yeah, we'll have to see who can get it done from here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like you said, it's still early goings. Obviously, the Storm have been one of the better teams all year. They've been one of the better teams in the NRL. I mean, for a good couple of years now. So yeah, I mean, it's been really good watching. Obviously, some upsets galore. You mentioned the Raiders game. I mentioned the West Tigers game. I mean, yeah, it's been really good. The rugby league has been really good. The quality on show has been really good, and hopefully it'll be some. Hopefully the season shapes out well, and I'm sure it'll be come the end of the season. It'll be really really entertaining, and yeah.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to see how it plays out. There's definitely a few good games to look out for over the next weekend. You've definitely got some big games to watch. Storm Panthers kick you off on Thursday night is huge. Warriors, Roosters, and Broncos, Cowboys also on the Friday night. You look at Sharks, Rabbitohs, Dolphins, West Tigers. Titans are playing the Knights. Eels, Bulldogs, and Sea Eagles, Raiders to round out week 3 of the NRL, which will be this weekend. So yeah, huge league, and looking forward to seeing what happens. I'll definitely that Storm Panthers game especially, I think I'll keep an eye on for sure. But I think that's going to wrap it up for Sportswatch this week. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.